Before I arrived to college, I didn't know what I would study or what other interests I would pursue when I finally arrived. During this period, I would read about activities and groups, but mostly I watched movies and TV shows. Lifetime, the movie and show network, was my favorite. They showed movies that included a lot of people that were my age or already in college. In some movies, the settings would take place on a campus or in a fraternity house. In this fraternity house, they sometimes showcased the drinking and the tactics that were used to initiate pledges. Pledges would sometimes be seriously injured or even worse, dead. While witnessing this portrayal of events, I considered these risks while deciding if I would join a sorority. I decided that if I did join a sorority, the sorority would have to be strictly a non-hazing sorority. If I even suspect that the initiation process for me is dangerous, I would simply eliminate myself before anyone or any sorority could. Hazing is dangerous due to some of the activities that fraternities and sororities feel are rites of passage. To protect our peers from these dangers, while pledging to a fraternity or sorority, we should report it when we are witnessing this harassment. And we should also disband fraternities and sororities at certain schools who feel this is the right way to initiate someone into a brotherhood or a sisterhood. Hazing happens because due to more secrecy policies in current pledge periods today, very few people have come forth with hazing allegations against one's fraternity or sorority. College students are more prone to hazing because they live, work, and go to their classes on campus among recruiters that represent a Greek community. It's hard to avoid or not be influenced by someone who is around us all the time. Sometimes one can be peer pressured into joining an organization in more ways than we think. Yes, we are all of age and can think or make decisions for ourselves, but things like parties and other Greek activities can be a contributing factor. The more often an individual attends these events, the more often they can be scouted and appeal to the interests of Greek groups. For example, Tim Piazza, a former sophomore at Penn State University, was 19 years old and an engineering major when he pledged to the fraternity Beta Theta Pi earlier this year. According to testimonies from other pledges and Caitlin Flanagan, an editor for the article The Atlantic, Pennsylvania State University has allowed hazing to go on for decades. Beta Theta Pi has hazed pledge classes at least twice in the previous year before Piazza decided to pledge. Piazza clearly was unaware before his death of what harsh and gruesome things he would endure on the night of February 2, 2017. On this same fateful night, Piazza fell 15 feet down from a flight of stairs in the Beta Theta Pi fraternity house after a night of very heavy drinking and torture from other fraternity members. Like many other fraternities do, his frat brothers tried to cover it up and go on as usual. According to an article for the Health Research Funding, 3 out of 10 students report that they were willing to do something illegal in order to join a particular group, and that only 1 out of every 2 students believes that the most important aspect of hazing is the unwritten code of silence that is expected when an incident occurs. Fraternity brothers are much like siblings. When the older one does something that their parents would most likely scold them for in front of the younger sibling, they beg and try to encode silence, often with an incentive or a threat. Little do frat brothers and participants know, hazing can have effects of apathy and mistrust rather than bonding and respect among fellow brothers and sisters.